So my history, my story is I've been with NexTech for 25 years next year. Started as just an employee and kind of advanced into different leadership management, and then about almost 5 years ago into the ownership realm. And we're in the staffing business, so my first role was as a recruiter, and then have just kind of evolved into a more advanced role over a 25-year history. So it's seen a lot of life changes through that period, just personally and professionally. I've seen us go from really 2 employees to now an internal staff of 16, 17 with 100 plus consultants that work for us in the field. So it's definitely I've seen the whole gamut of growth as a business. For me, the journey with Next Level has been just a key component of how I've progressed as a leader, because you have a lot of support structure built into your business, but it's not necessarily designed to support the owner as he's journeying through ownership. And so to have resources like you and Ken to bounce ideas off of, to hold you accountable to things that you lay out that you want to get done, just gives you an outlet to talk through difficult situations. I will say that in 5 years of ownership, there really hadn't been a normal year yet. And so to have people that can relate, that can counsel, that can just be there to hear what you're struggling with. It's hard to get that inside your own building, just because you need to be vulnerable at times. As a leader, you've got to be open. You've got to be able to share your frustrations. I personally have a hard time, or I don't want to do that necessarily with my employees. It's not that I don't value them. It's not that I don't appreciate their input, but there needs to be a better way to be vulnerable as you try to journey through good times, bad times, life that you have to. It's been helpful for me, not only just in the tools and challenges of trying to progress the business, but also just from a perspective of, I just need to talk to somebody. We need to talk through this, whether it's a personnel issue or it's just a motivation struggle, whatever it may be. It's really helpful. And the Next Level class setup gives you a peer structure that allows you to have open conversation. People that have probably dealing with similar things, you can have that conversation at a peer level. And so I've enjoyed that. There's guys in that initial class that I went through that I still communicate with at least monthly, that we just talk, catch up. And then obviously you continue to meet with people every month that you can have life with, and life in the context of ownership of a business. The tools that I feel like have been the most beneficial to me, honestly, were the assessments. I've been able to much more easily identify when I'm struggling with something. It's easier for me to diagnose the root cause of that. An example, if I'm struggling with interacting with an employee, 9 times out of 10, it's not the employee. It's something that I'm struggling with, or that I need to be aware of so that I can better engage with that employee, or a customer, or my spouse or my kids. I'm oriented to execute. I'm an operations background, and so I'm just give me a task and let me get it done. And so I can do that well. But when you realize when you're in ownership or in leadership, you can do that, but at some point you're going to break. And so for me to have the awareness to pull back, see what's going on kind of under the hood, the dash lights are going off, you got to figure out what it is. And so it's just given me the ability to see that, process it a little bit easier. And not to mention, the assessments are very mechanical. They're great. They give you an idea of what you're good at, what you're not. But then just the journey of emotional intelligence allows you to have more awareness of things that you're struggling with before you even really realize it becomes a bigger problem. And so that's probably been the biggest thing, is just giving me that awareness of the things that as a leader I need to be aware of to be the most effective. For me, probably that awareness of who I am, and also how to identify with the employees who maybe have not been assessed, but you can read the room a little easier because you know what to look for in yourself. And so you can kind of see, if it's really an issue or if there's something else behind the scenes that you're not aware of. And then, being a good listener to try to identify that and really connecting with people personally. For any owner or leader that is considering some sort of coaching, the first thing I would tell anybody is if you're in an ownership or a leadership position, you need coaching. Like anybody that asked me, I would say you need to be coached. And I would not have said that 5 years ago. I never had an opportunity to see it. I didn't necessarily understand what it meant. Coaching is vital because you really don't have, most mid-market companies don't have a suite of executives that you've got like a board of directors. They typically it's the owner, is the operator. And so it's vital that there's some sort of coaching. Now, I'm very biased in the next level because I think it's been helpful for me, not only professionally, but personally. And then take on top of that, you're going to be surrounded by like-minded people who understand what you're going through. You'll be able to understand what they're going through, and you'll get this built-in community besides, you and Ken, that are obviously a huge valuable resource, but you also get a peer group that is going to challenge you. They're going to share burdens with you. They're going to be a resource when you've got questions. They're going to be, I think as we've seen with the path, I think one of the things that has really helped us over the last, 6-9 months is when we've spoken into each other's issues, not to correct them, but just to identify with them, to support them, to validate them, and then to work through potential accountability for solutions. And so you just can't replace that. And you don't really have that, or at least I didn't have that in my internal organization. I've got a lot of people that I value that they have great opinions for me, but they're just not in the same role as the people that I've met and engaged with the next level. And like I said, coaching is vital. You will always be, or you better be learning and evolving in this role. And if you are, you've got to have somebody that's leading you along that path. And I think the merger between what you and Ken are able to do is you both come at the same problem from a little bit different perspectives. You're not hearing it from one coach, you're hearing it from two who have different gifts to be able to offer to our class. And then the class setting itself is just very supportive. There's been challenges for me personally in the last few years, and this group has been very much a key part of that process to get through those difficulties. Besides just my normal friends and family, this group has been very, very supportive. And you just can't, you can't replace that. It's a good community. You feel like there's kind of a brotherhood of like-minded people journeying the same way you are. I've audited a couple of other leadership classes, and I say audited because sit in on one. I haven't done a full curriculum. I think the thing that I've liked compared to the ones that I have seen or heard and witnessed to a degree is that this seems very specific to me and to even in the initial next level class. You're not going through a generic curriculum. You're going through your assessments and your business on the initial, and you're learning based on what's specific to your group. And then you get into the path, and it really is, you're addressing your specific problems that particular day. You're not, going through a national curriculum. There's nothing wrong with those. But to me, it felt very personal. It was very geared to what I needed at that time, and which to me is a huge selling point because it allows you to feel like every time you go into a class, there's value there. That's the one thing people ask me about it, and I've told other people when they've asked me what my thoughts were. I said I never once walked into a class or left that class feeling like I didn't get something out of it. Even though it is, 3 or 4 hours out of my day, the benefits of that pay off tremendously because I walk out a better leader, refreshed, energized, motivated to go be better as an employer or as an employer, as a company, and everything. So it's like that time is the investment is what I'm trying to pay off in the long run. So you just can't, you never felt like it was a burden on your calendar. I look forward to these meetings because it's just a refresher. It resets a lot of my mindset, and it gives me motivation coming out to be better by the time we come around that next one.